Okay, there was one particular type of problem where they would give you a rational expression that they asked you to simplify. So let's take x squared minus 12x plus 36, and we want to divide by 5x minus 30. Now, in order to simplify this, you had to first factor it. So on the top here, if I break apart my x squared, I have x times x. And then if I think about factors of positive 36 that would add up to negative 12 in the middle, I would have a negative 6 and a negative 6. So that would be my factors on top. Notice on bottom, the two terms have a common factor of 5. So if I factor 5 out, then I'm left with an x minus 6 there as well. Now, what happens when you go to simplify this is the factor x minus 6 on bottom cancels with the factor x minus 6 on top. So your final simplified answer is x minus 6 over 5. Now, the part that got tricky is they asked you to identify numbers that are excluded from the domain of the simplified rational expression in order for it to be equivalent to the original expression. And so what most of you did in that case is you looked at the simplified expression and you gave me the domain, which in this case you would have said all real numbers because there's nothing that causes an issue with the bottom of that fraction. But in reality, you've got to actually look at the original before we canceled out common factors. And what's happening on this original is we know we cannot have a 0 in the bottom of a fraction, so that factor x minus 6 that's in the bottom, if you actually set it equal to 0 and you solve it, then what we're saying is that x cannot actually equal, because you don't want it to equal 0, x cannot actually equal 6. So that number would have been excluded from the domain of this in order for this to be equivalent to the original. Okay, so hopefully that helps with that particular concept. Okay, the last type of problem I want to look at is when you were finding slope between 2 points. So remember, the formula for slope says that we have to take y2 minus y1 and divide by x2 minus x1. So if I go ahead and label this first ordered pair is my x1, y1, the second ordered pair is my x2, y2. When I go to plug these in, my y2 is a 6 minus my y1 is a negative 4. And then on bottom, my x2 is a negative 1 minus my x1, which is just 4. So when you go to simplify, first of all, some of you lost this negative sign. So you had a minus that's part of the formula, but you had a negative sign that was part of that y value. Subtracting a negative is the same as adding the positive, so that really just becomes 6 plus 4, which is 10 on top. Now, on bottom, when you're subtracting, I always tell students, in this case, think about money. And so negative would mean that you have to give me money. Positive would mean I give it to you. So if you have to hand me $1 and then you turn around and you hand me 4 more, are you ahead or behind? And in that case, you are behind by $5. Now you have to simplify all the way. So 10 divided by negative 5 would leave me with negative 2 for my slope.